Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 19th of January. One soldier, two civilians killed in Pakistan firing along border India's Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan needs to prosecute UN-designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed, says US. And now for all the details. 3 persons, including 1 personnel of India's border security force, were killed on Friday as Pakistani troops resorted to ceasefire violation along the frontier in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. Meanwhile, in another incident, 4 policemen were injured in a grenade explosion in Pulwama district of the province.
A personnel of India's Border Security Force or BSF and 2 civilians were killed on Friday as Pakistani troops resorted to ceasefire violations along the border in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. Pakistani troops reportedly resorted to heavy firing and shelling along the frontier in several areas including Pura, Samba and Ramgarh sectors since early morning, injuring at least 19 civilians. The injured were immediately admitted to hospitals across the province.
अभी हमारे पास इधर 4 लोग जो आए हैं जख्मी हुए, जो क्रॉस बॉर्डर फायरिंग में जख्मी हुए हैं। ये 8 बजे का टाइम है, इधर पहुंचे हैं। 2 लोग सही खुर्द से और 2 लोग कोराटाना से हैं। 2 लोगों की जहां डेथ हो गई ऑलरेडी ब्रॉड डेड लाए गए हैं और 2 को जम्मू मेडिकल कॉलेज रेफर किए गए।
Meanwhile, in another incident, 4 policemen were injured in a grenade attack by militants in Pulwama district of the province. The area was cordoned off and a hunt was on to nab the attackers till last reports came in.
India's finance minister on Thursday said the country will cut rates on some products and services under the new goods and services tax or GST. The move by the government comes in a bid to encourage greater compliance as revenues have dipped since the landmark reform was announced last year.
Indian Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Thursday said India will cut rates on some products and services under the new goods and services tax or GST in a bid to encourage greater compliance as revenues have dipped since the landmark reform was announced. Businesses have raised concerns about high rates of taxation and cumbersome processes in GST, billed as India's biggest tax reform in 70 years. The GST Council, comprising federal and provincial finance ministers, agreed to lower tax rates on 29 goods and 53 services from January 25 after a meeting in New Delhi.
The detailed list will be submitted to you just now, and the new rates for these will all come into force from the 25th of January.
The goods on which GST will be lowered include biofuel-run buses, used motor vehicles and diamonds and precious stones. Tax on sales of liquefied petroleum gas by private firms or domestic use has been reduced to 5% from 18%.
In news from Pakistan, the United States has called for Hafiz Saeed's prosecution to the fullest extent of the law, following Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Abbasi's remark that no action could be taken against the UN-designated terrorist.
A day after Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi said that no action could be taken against Hafiz Saeed as there is no case against him, the United States has called for the prosecution of the US-designated terrorist to the fullest extent of the law. A US State Department spokesperson on Thursday said the US believes that Hafiz Saeed, the chief of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror group, should be prosecuted and Pakistan has been told about it.
We regard him as a terrorist, a part of a foreign terrorist organization. He was the mastermind, we believe, of the 2008 Mumbai attacks, which killed many people, including Americans as well. We have made our points and our concerns to the Pakistani government very clear. We believe that this individual should be prosecuted. The Pakistani government released him from house arrest not that long ago. We believe that he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Hafiz Saeed, who is also the chief of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa or JUD, was released from house arrest in Pakistan in November. The US has labelled JUD a terrorist front for the Lashkar-e-Taiba or LET, a group Saeed found in 1987. Saeed has repeatedly denied any involvement in 2008 Mumbai terror attack, and because of the lack of evidence, he has never been convicted in court.
In news from Afghanistan, US envoy to United Nations Nikki Haley has said the Trump administration's policy in Afghanistan is working. She said the talks between the government and the Taliban are closer than ever before.
US Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley has said the new US policy in Afghanistan was working, saying talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban are closer than ever before. While informing about the recent trip by the UN Security Council to Afghanistan, Haley said dramatic changes could be seen in terms of what the US policy has been doing. She said the US will continue to work towards a peace process, with the goal being that Afghanistan does not become a safe haven for terrorism anymore.
I think what is most important that the U.S. wanted was we wanted to see an Afghan-led and Afghan-owned policy. And what was impressive is the Afghan leaders are completely taking responsibility for that. They don't ask us for things, they're telling us what they're doing.
Afghan President Ghani during the meeting requested continued UN pressure on neighbouring Pakistan, which Kabul accuses of harbouring Taliban insurgents. He called the new US strategy important to bring changes in Afghanistan and the region and emphasized joint efforts are required to move forward the Afghan peace process.
Moving on to news from Nepal. Protests broke out on Thursday against the government's decision to name temporary provincial centres in Nepal. Demonstrators across the Himalayan kingdom took to violent protests and even vandalized government offices in various districts.
The government's decision to name temporary provincial centres in Nepal sparked violent protests at several places across the country on Thursday. The agitated locals hit the streets a day after the government finalized temporary capitals and chiefs of 7 provinces across Nepal on Wednesday. People in Birganj district protested to demand that their towns be made the provincial capitals. The government finalized temporary capitals and chiefs of 7 provinces across the country during a cabinet meeting chaired by Premier Sheikh Bahadur Dioba. Earlier this month, Dioba had called an emergency cabinet meeting to discuss various issues, including announcement of National Assembly election date and appointment of provincial capitals and their chiefs. He then assured that the appointment of the provincial chiefs will soon take place, which already has been delayed for long.
Getting around Bangladesh's congested capital Dhaka has always been a challenge for locals, and the colourful rickshaws around the city have been the answer for it. The pedal power job has been a big problem solver for Bangladeshis so far, but its life now seems short as critics say their presence slows down traffic in Dhaka.
The colourful rickshaws in Bangladesh capital Dhaka have always been a big problem solver for those who need to get from one place to another on time. The rickshaws are readily available in the city, which makes it easy for locals to move through the narrow roads. However, the rickshaws' days may be numbered as critics say their huge, slow-moving presence slows down traffic in Dhaka. Rickshaws are banned in some of the bigger multiple-lane streets in Dhaka, and police are forever on the lookout for trespassers.
রিকশা সব জায়গায় তাড়াতাড়ি পাওয়া যায়, কমফোর্টেবল মনে করি, এই জন্য শর্টে ন্যারো রাস্তা, যার জন্য আমরা তাড়াতাড়ি রিকশায় যেতে পারি, এই জন্য
ভিআইপি রোডের জন্য যানজট সৃষ্টি করে, যার জন্য এগুলো আমরা ডাম্মিকে পাঠাই দিই।
In the old parts of Dhaka, there are workers who build cycle rickshaws and earn their livelihood. Despite the pessimistic outlook for the workshops, there are many who move to the city from villages and take up rickshaw pulling as their first job. Many are grateful for the work, which requires a healthy constitution and strong legs.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday expressed his love for Indian cinema during an event in India's entertainment capital, Mumbai. The Israeli leader was on a 6-day official visit to India.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday expressed his love for Bollywood during an event in India's entertainment capital, Mumbai. Netanyahu, while addressing the Shalom Bollywood event, said that there were limitless possibilities in the field of arts, adding that India and Israel can come together and create magic. The event was attended by popular Bollywood actors.
That the world loves Bollywood and Israel loves Bollywood. I love Bollywood. And in the digital age, there are endless possibilities for creativity, endless. And I think that if we join forces, magic happens.
Netanyahu, along with his wife Sarah, also took a selfie with Bollywood superstar Amitabh Bachchan and other celebrities of the film fraternity, hoping to beat talk show host Ellen DeGeneres' famous Oscar selfie.
A biopic on Pakistani education activist Malala Yousafzai is being shot in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The Nobel Peace Prize winner's life is undoubtedly one that is path-breaking, awe-inspiring and stands as an example of sheer grit and courage amid the darkest of times.
Bollywood is working on a film based on the life of Pakistani education activist Malala Yousafzai. Malala is the youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, and the shooting for her biopic is currently underway in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The film Gul Makai chronicles the journey of Yousafzai, who came to prominence when a Taliban gunman shot her in the head in 2012 after she was targeted for her campaign against efforts by the Taliban to deny women education. She won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. The titular role is being played by 15-year-old girl child actor Reem Sheikh.
Malala Yousafzai के ऊपर आधारित है पूरी फिल्म, उसके ऊपर बेस्ड है और पाकिस्तान आर्मी, पाकिस्तान के आम लोगों का जूझना, वहाँ के दहशतगर्द के साथ उनका कैसे उन लोगों ने किस तरह से सरवाइव किया, फिर मलाला का सरवाइव पूरा एक साथ मिला जुला के पूरी फिल्म है.
Reportedly, parts of the film have already been shot in India's western Bhuj and Mumbai cities, and it is slated to release later this year.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.